Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to today's edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We'll also open the easier number for you to remember. It's 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Miss Kim will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. I see that Margaret from New York is already in the queue. So after our upcoming commercial break, if you're tuned in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from 10 to noon every Saturday, you'll know that we open a little short open. I share a little information with you, and today I'm going to share information about a rusty car. You can't believe this, folks. I mean, it's just a facsimile of a car that sells for $1.9 million. It's called a Talbot. You should perhaps look online, and then when I come back, you can share that vision with me. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Batteries with Power Frame Grid Technology are stronger, more durable, and keep you going. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside and know you're getting true strength on the inside of your next battery. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic also brought to you in part by Stant Corporation. I like Stant thermostats. I like Stant radiator caps, fuel caps. Stant brings original equipment expertise to quality aftermarket products like the fuel caps, the radiator caps, and thermostats that I just mentioned. Find Stant products for your vehicle at Stant.com. Find questions and answers for your car questions right here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I'll be back.
You've got mail.
Time to go to our Car Clinic inbox. Doug in Chicago writes,
Dear Bobby, my car's engine isn't warming up as it should, so I took it to a mechanic. He suggested a new thermostat and recommended a Stant Superstat. It's a little more money. Is the Superstat worth it?
Absolutely, Doug. Your vehicle's thermostat plays a big role in maintaining a proper air-to-fuel ratio, which in turn maximizes fuel economy and keeps tailpipe emissions in check. Stant's Superstat thermostat is American-made with a larger heat motor for better temperature control, heavy-duty springs that help return the Superstat to a closed position to prevent cold running, and a heavier gauge stainless steel housing. Just hold one. You can actually feel the difference. Stant's Superstat is a premium-grade thermostat that performs better and lasts longer. And Superstat thermostats come with a limited lifetime warranty. So for me, it's definitely worth the money. For all the details why, visit Stant.com. Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. Be sure to choose a battery with Power Frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with Power Frame to be there start after start. To find a retailer near you, visit powerframe.com.
O'Reilly. Protect your wheels and tires from harmful elements and restore shine with Armorall Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner on sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts for $3.99 each. Clean, shine, and protect your wheels and tires with Armorall Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning. Happy morning, your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here, your aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get this show started. Good morning. I hope that your week was really good for you, and I hope that you were good to your car this week. You know, it's cool weather outside, and that's just the time that, and I mentioned batteries. I talked about the power frame grid technology, which is a superior grid technology that's inside the battery, and you can know that you're getting a true strength on the inside when you get the power frame logo on the outside. But what I wanted to specifically mention to you is that when the temperature outside starts to dip, the energy in the battery starts to go with it. Just like tires, for every single degree, every 10 degrees of a temperature drop, you lose a single PSI of pressure. So you can check your tires and have 30 PSI and you have a 40-degree drop in temp, and you're lucky if it's 26. I have found the average tire pressure monitoring system warning light comes on somewhere in the 24 and a half range, and my car specifically, and our customers' cars at Car Clinic Service pre-repair. So that's one of the things you want to check for those cold weather days, because believe it or not, proper tire inflation in the summer and in the winter allows the patch, and the patch is the part of the tire that touches the road, to get a better grip on the road. You would think, well, maybe if I lowered the pressure, but not so, because just think of lowering the pressure. Think of a guy's kind of tummy, okay? If it's big and you put pressure in it, then the center of it runs out. That's the same thing as a tire. The center of the tire bows out, so you're riding on the center of the tire. If you wanted to get increased gas mileage, now on a test track, you put 50, 60 PSI in a tire that normally carries 30, not to exceed the side wall pressures, which is the building code pressure. You never exceed that. And that's not the pressure that you use, by the way, on your tires. You use the pressure on the decal located inside either the glove compartment door on some trucks, Chevys, or on the door jamb. You'll see that, and that gives you a rating. And I like to add a couple of PSI. So if it calls for 30, I like to run 32, because tires don't make air pressure. They lose air pressure, especially with temp drops. So let's get started. I see that Margaret's on the line with us. I'll invite you to call at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. And then after Margaret and I talk, she's got an 04 Grand Marquis. I'm going to share with you the information about this rusty car that I hope you had an opportunity to go online and check it out. It sold for $1.9 million, and it's not even all there. Margaret, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us this morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
I have a question.
Sure.
I've asked everybody, and nobody seems to be able to give me the proper answer. When I fill my gas tank, I have a gauge in my car that says how many miles I can get on that amount of gas.
Yes.
When I fill my gas tank, and let's say it's 3-something a gallon, my gas, it will say that I have 400 miles I can go on that gas tank. Now, recently, of course, the gas has dropped, and I paid the other day $2.39 for a gallon of gas.
Right.
And when I filled it, again, the 20 gallons, it says I have 325 miles to use on that gas. I can't figure out why, if it's 20 gallons, why it isn't always the same amount of miles.
Well, did you reset that the car's trip set?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
No.
Well,
I just
there you go.
Yes, and that's it.
All right. Here's the bottom line. When, if you drove around town, you would get, let's just say you get 15 miles per gallon around town. Mm-hmm. 20 gallons, that's 300 miles.
Okay.
So you filled up, and you didn't reset the trip set, and the car uses the history of city miles, which is 15 miles per gallon, or 300 miles.
Okay.
But let's just say that that particular fill-up, you were driving from New York to down to Jersey or wherever you go, and you're on the highway. Now the car relearns over a period of miles. It probably takes at least 150 to 200 miles on that tank of fuel, and instead of 15 miles per gallon, you're getting 20 miles per gallon. So you're getting an extra 100 miles of gas. So the next time you fill up, it sees, well, I'm getting 20 miles per gallon. Here's what you must do to be accurate. There's a reset button on the trip set, on your odometer. and not the odometer that's a cumulative mileage over the years of the car, but on a trip. And there's usually trip A and trip B. I only use one in my car. But if you were, let's say you were going on a trip across country and you wanted to, an average of all the gas mileage, you would go to trip A and reset it when you filled up at the first stop before you left home, and you would also go to the trip B and reset that. Now you've got trip A and trip B on 0.
Right.
Then you would go back to trip A and never go back to trip B until you went all the way across country and came back. Trip A would be individual gas tanks that you would reset along the way, and then trip B would be the collective MPG of the whole trip. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I do.
So, and here's one thing that's really cool. One of the NASCAR drivers actually took a Ford Focus when Ford first came out with their EV car or the hybrid, and it was advertised at 41 miles per gallon. This was 4 or 5 years ago. He drove that car. Now, I won't say that he kept up with traffic, and I won't say that you would want to be around that car because and the way he drove is the way that I could drive your car, and I could get 30% more MPG because all cars have a fuel cut off. And let's say that you're riding a bicycle and you're having to go up the hill and you've got first, second, third, fourth, 10th gears, whatever. Depending on how steep that hill is what gear you have that bike in. You with me there?
Right.
Because it depends on how powerful your legs are. Now, let's just say that you're turning around and going down the hill. Well, you don't have to coast at all. So when a car is going down the hill and you back off the throttle, the rear wheels are driving the motor, and the fuel injection smart systems on cars shuts off all the fuel. And if you'll go through the menu of your car's reporter on MPG, you can look at the instant miles per gallon versus the average miles per gallon. And the instant miles per gallon can go to from 5 miles per gallon to 50, up to 99 miles per gallon, up to zero use or a million miles per gallon. Because if you lived on the moon and you could coast all the way here, you wouldn't need any gas, and the car would see that. And that was a system. That being the fuel cut system that was designed many years ago, not for street cars. It was designed so that the Jaguars could outrun the Porsches in races in Sebring and areas like that, because the Porsches were always faster. But you see, that was a road race, and as those cars run 220 miles an hour down the straightaway, and then they have to back off the throttle to get into a 30-mile-per-hour hairpin turn, when they back off the throttle, the Bosch came out and made a program that cut the fuel off, because when you let off the throttle, you don't need fuel going in the motor. So that technology allowed the Jaguar race cars to get a half a more mile per lap, or half more mile per gallon than the Porsches. So the Porsche would run fast and outrun them, but they'd have to stop and get gas, and here comes the Jag would catch up. And that technology transferred over, as a lot of racing technologies do, that technology transferred over to cars, because when you let off the throttle going 60 miles per hour, and there's some other parameters that I won't get into, but when you let off the gas, your engine doesn't need fuel going in the cylinders. The old carbureted cars still fed fuel in the engine, which is hydrocarbon. Unburned means emissions. And all fuel-injected cars, your Grand Marquis, even I see Chuck from Illinois, his F-150, you let off the throttle, gas shuts off, engine coast, it's a free ride, and MPG goes through the roof. So if you knew, and to finalize this, if you're a half a block from a traffic light, and you're familiar there in New York with that particular traffic light, you know you're not going to make the green light, back off the throttle all the way and coast up to that stop, because during that coast, the MPG goes to 99 miles per gallon, because you're running with no fuel going in the engine whatsoever, with the throttle all the way at rest. So that's the reason you should reset your MPG within every tank. You got it?
Right, I've got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for calling.
I've been trying to find this out for 2 years.
Well,
finally somebody has the answer.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want you to know, and I'd love for you to enter our sweepstakes. Go to Car Clinic sweepstakes.com, because I'm going to be giving away a $500 gas card, speaking of gas, and our sponsors and partners will also be giving away prizes as well. Royal Purple, a lambskin leather jacket. You'll love that, in New York, and it is beautiful. I have one. And also the Renewable Fuels Association is going to be giving away a $250 Visa card that you can spend at will. So you can enter the Car Clinic Sweepstakes by going to, and Margaret, do this, carclinicsweepstakes.com. I'm going to take a call from Chuck, but not till I get back from the break. So what I want you to do is just hang with me. Don't touch that dial. When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to PowerFrame Grid technology, you can count on your battery to be there start after start. Batteries with PowerFrame Grid technology provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit PowerFrame.com to find a retailer near you. That's PowerFrame.com.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't,
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah.
You. Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
Okay, folks, let's take a question from the Car Clinic inbox from John in Tennessee.
Bobby, I drive a hybrid, and I'm conscientious about servicing and maintenance to keep it in top shape. My friend talks about K&N products and says I should try them. He's a hot rod kind of guy, but I'm more of a green type person. That's why I drive a hybrid. What K&N products would make sense for me?
John, for the performance and the green guy in you, K&N air filters have you covered. Most K&N air filters are washable, lifetime air filters, so K&N filters can stay out of the landfills. And unlike paper air filters, which are made from trees that take years to grow to maturity, K&N air filters are made from cotton, a quickly renewing resource. And being green doesn't sacrifice performance. K&N air filters are engineered to deliver high airflow for quicker acceleration up hills and on freeway entries, and for a maximized driving experience. For the K&N air filter just right for your hybrid, drive to knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Oh, Steve, it's so romantic camping at night.
Yeah. Hey, you want a mint?
I didn't know Trident makes mints. What was that?
Just a rabbit or squirrel.
Oh, it's a bear!
I see it.
Do something, it's getting closer.
Wow!
Aw, look, he likes our breath.
Trident introduces new Trident Advantage Mints, the great-tasting sugarless mint that strengthens teeth and helps reduce the risk of tooth decay.
Can you get the bear to stop licking my mouth?
New Trident Advantage Mints, the good for your teeth mint.
Good day, ladies.
Hi.
I'm Willie Works, here to talk to you about how to get rid of those tough, embedded odors in the laundry.
You know what I've been doing?
What?
I've been soaking some of my husband's T-shirts in a baking soda solution.
Oh.
Now that seems to help.
Sometimes I boil them in vinegar.
Oh.
Yeah, that could help.
Oh, ladies, there's an easier way.
Really?
Febreze for the wash.
Oh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Really? One wash is all it takes?
Yep, Febreze for the wash. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to reach out to Sedalia, Missouri, KSIS 1050 AM, Car Clinic affiliate, Mike Jenkins and Doug Sokolowski, Program Director and General Manager there in Sedalia, Missouri, KSIS 1050 AM, Mike and Doug. A shout out to you both. And folks, if you're tuned in to KSIS 1050 AM in Sedalia, let me hear from you. Kim will take your call at 888 Car Clinic and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. I mentioned this rusty car, folks. I'm just itching to tell you about this. But in the meantime, we have folks that are dialed in. So let's take calls, and I can always share the information about the rusty car that sold for $1.9 million. Just imagine if you put a car out in a field or in a barn unprotected, that it would just degrade and degrade and degrade. And finally you come back and say, oh, look at the shape of that car. That's a car. Well, this particular car is a special car, one of 4 made. Unbelievable. I'll tell you about that after we talk with Chuck. And I see John's in the queue. You can be in the queue. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Chuck, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for calling.
I have a question. I have a Ford F-150, and it has 103,000 miles.
Okay.
And it's time for a tune-up.
Okay.
And I've taken it to or talked to 2 different Ford dealers.
Yes.
And they both want to charge $300, and then they told me about the spark plugs that can break, and they want to charge $30 to $90 per plug, and one wants to have a $250 engine treatment beforehand.
Yes.
And I talked to an independent guy, and he said, with the problems they're having, he suggested waiting until I notice it missing and losing fuel or mileage. And I'm confused as to what to do. I'm getting a lot of differing opinions and was just wondering what your thoughts were on this.
Very familiar with that problem. It was not one of Ford's better ideas. It had to do with emissions. And imagine this. You know what a spark plug looks like.
Correct.
Now, let's just say that you're holding a spark plug, and you've got the end of the plug, which is where the ceramic and the electrode and the ground strap are, and that's the part that sticks into the chamber. So literally, it's like, let's say the end of your finger was the electrode, and your fingernail, maybe a long fingernail, if you will, was protruded into the combustion chamber. That's typical. So if you unscrewed your finger, your tip would come out with it.
Right.
Except that Ford, during their emissions, they obviously found this on the dyno. Ford decided to add another inch, and I'm going to say it's about 900,000. It's almost an inch shank after the end of your finger. So you've got your finger or the end of a normal spark plug, and then you press a steel shell into it. And then at the end of that shell, you put the electrode and you put the ground strap. And so what that does is it puts the fire deeper into the combustion chamber in order to start the fire more efficiently.
Okay.
So here's the problem. They made the shank, which is nothing more than a steel sleeve, the same size. Well, it had to be small enough to get into the screw threads, but it's the same size as the inside of the hole of the spark plug. So rather than making that shank smaller, they made it the same size. What happens is when you put miles on the vehicle, carbon grows onto the shank. And so the outside of the shank literally becomes crystallized. So much so that when you unscrew the spark plug, you're having to peel that shank and pull that. It's like pulling the skin off your finger out of the hole because the skin has grown and grown and grown. You understand the picture I'm trying to paint here?
Right, yes.
Okay, so it is a carbon problem. So what happens, and this happens when some mechanics get in a hurry and they put a little impact on the spark plug and they try to zip the plug out, and they don't have any softening effect or any pre-service to stop this carbon from holding on to. So you just can't shear, like I'm saying, you can't shear that carbon off that end of that spark plug. It was a poor design. We've had this problem. We've actually had one engine where 5 out of 8 broke. And here's the problem, really. If you're working on the front cylinder, you can see it, and you can have the aftermarket makes a Ford spark plug extraction tool that literally crushes the ceramic and gets that piece out. Or if it doesn't, you got to pull the head off. So the information that you got is 100%. Now, here's the saving grace. What do? Whatever you do is you treat the combustion chamber like you're doing an EGR service or a decarbonizing service. You treat it and let it sit the night before you take the plug out the next morning. So I don't care who you talk to, which technician you talk to, but there's no way that you can soften carbon immediately. You must treat it, let it sit, treat it, let it sit, and then it softens and softens and softens. And so basically what the shop would do, and someone is telling you the right information, what the shop would do is but you got to have it in the right sequence. You would perform a fuel injection or an EGR service clean on the engine.
Okay.
But you would not go out and drive it. And normally we'll perform that induction system clean, and you're using a liquid that you put into the mouth of the engine, and it swirls around in the chamber, and it heats up and it dissolves the carbon. So what you would do is you would perform that, and about 80% through that procedure. But as long as you didn't hydraulically lock the engine, and you would not, you would add the liquid, you would shut the engine down. Now you've got the engine pre-soaked and the tops of the piston pre-soaked and the spark plug end, that shank, pre-soaked. And then the following morning, you would, let's see if you would do this cold or hot. Probably cold. Then you would, using anything but an impact, you would use a regular hand wrench. You would slowly unscrew that spark plug. And I happened to be with my lead technician, Johnny Bars, one day as we had one of these vehicles in the shop. And and we did this procedure exactly like I'm sharing with you. And as he turned the spark plug, it went it was actually seized in the threads, and we were concerned the threads were going to be pulled out of the head, and we put a pre-lube on the threads, but you can't pre-lube a thread of any spark plug until you break the seal because it's on a seat. So once you could get a quarter of a turn, and you can be assured that you could get a quarter of a turn without breaking off the shank because the threads, the plug doesn't move that far out of the hole. So you get a quarter of a turn and you just stop. And that's where the real problem comes in. There's one word that's required, that's patience when you do this job. And I'll tell you, the last 5 of these that we did, we had one to break off and we got it out. So if you do exactly as I say, and you can go back to our iTunes iPodcast and hear this and share this directive with other folks because when it comes to the spark plug with that extra long shank, there's not but one way to get it out, and you pre-treat it the night before and leave all that gooey stuff in there, and that softens the carbon. And then the next day, you turn the spark plug a quarter of a turn, and you use something like a CRC, and you can go to crcindustries.com and see what the best lubricant would be to put down in the spark plug hole. And then wait, and then turn the plug. And I'll tell you, Chuck, what's really important. And I did this recently, and I know that it works, and I've done it many, many times. Once you turn the spark plug, and it'll turn 90 degrees or so, and you've got the lubricant that you put in from the outside, you can turn it back as though you're tightening it. And then what that will do is it will allow some of that lubricant to migrate into the threads, because there's 2 things you want to do. You want to make sure the threads are properly lubricated, and the spark plug has anti-seize on it from the factory, but I'm not sure they're used very much. And a lot of your spark plugs that are made today have anti-seize already on them, which is a plus. And then so you've got the softened shank. That's because you've cleaned the combustion chamber the night before, but didn't completely go drive it and get it all out. So it sits overnight and softens that hard carbon. You got it?
I have one little question about that. So when you put when they treat it, do not drive it. Just let it sit.
Absolutely, do not drive it. You want that stuff in there. Now you don't pour it in without the engine running, but you use it 80% of the procedure, and then you kind of like a towel. You don't hang the towel up. You want to keep it damp, which you don't want to do. But, I mean, it happens, right? So if you dry your body off with a towel and you put it in a little in the floor or whatever you do, it goes from there into the laundry. But at some point in time, there's mildew because it's damp. You want that chamber to sit overnight in a damp condition.
Okay.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
But
you talk to Chuck. You talk to your technician in Illinois there, and if you have any questions at all, you feel free to email me because we have extensive experience, and it's really important because the rear two spark plug holes are under the cowl of your F-150, and you can't even see what you're doing back there. And you got to take all the coils off to get to the spark plugs anyway because they're coilovers.
Right.
So and don't worry about getting the cheapest job. It's important that you get this performed the correct way, and we use the regular Ford. 100,000 miles, yeah, it wasn't a great idea, but by the same token, there's no reason to make a $400 job turn into a $2,000 job, damage the engine. But there's also no reason to continue to run that plug because of fear of changing, because if you run that plug and then you have problems, now you're in for some real serious problems because, number one, the check engine light's on, it doesn't run right, and you know that you got to do it, the plugs, so you put plugs in it. Will that fix the check engine light? Maybe. Or maybe not, because the plug has affected other electronic components like a bad coil, and that's another not so great idea for Ford. Hey, long call, but I wanted you to know because it's important to save you money, and that's what I'm here for. I see that John is in the queue. I'm going to come back and take your calls at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us. Let's go to the Car Clinic inbox today, where Jim in Philadelphia asks, Dear Bobby, how do I go about choosing the right tire for my vehicle? Jim, first, get the factory recommended tire size, which can be found on a label on the driver's doorpost. Then, consider the elements of load and speed rating to match your driving style. But don't stop there. Think of smart, new technology like General Tire's innovative replacement tire monitor. No guesswork determining when your tires need to be replaced. When tires wear to 2/32 inch of tread depth, General Tire's replacement tire monitor reads replace tire on the tire itself, alerting the driver a change is needed. Imagine the peace of mind when the tire itself lets you know it's time for a change. General Tire, celebrating its 100th birthday this year, is committed to safety, performance, and innovation. For details, drive to GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last night I get in my truck, and in the back seat is one of those supermodels. Says she always wanted to meet a man who owned a sauerkraut factory. We're eating sauerkraut. She's wiping juice off my chin. I get heartburn. I pull out my Rolaids, and in under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then she's gone, and so's my heartburn.
Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Now, I'm not a financial wizard or anything, so when I needed a mortgage, I went to LendingTree. I filled out one simple form, banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. Maybe I am a wizard after all.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. Oh. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to share with you, and I see that John's on the queue from South Carolina. We're going to take his call. I'll take your call, too, at 888-227-2546. During the break, I mentioned the General Tire. What I wanted you to understand, because I think this is whoever came up with this idea at General Tire, the engineers, it's just pure genius. Imagine the tread of a tire, and imagine the center of that tire, which has a continuous tread all around it. You know, tires have blocks of rubber, and then some tires, like a racing tire, has no block. It's all one slick. Well, parts of your tire are also slick, that they're called continuous tread. So what General Tire's engineers did was they etched on the center tread of their tire. It's the coolest thing. In fact, you should write this down just for grins. If you got a pencil and a paper, write down replacement tire monitor. And if you'll write down replacement tire monitor, you've got, of course, 3 words there. But let's say that you wrote down replacement with 2 different kinds of pens. One, well, the replace part was with ink, and the mint in replacement was with pencil. And then the tire was in ink, and then the monitor is in pencil. So basically, we've got replacement tire monitor in different tread depths, and when that tread wears to 2/32, the mint, M-E-N-T, and the monitor are worn away, leaving the words replace tire. What's so cool about that is you've got and this is continuous around the tread. So you pull up in your garage, you're wondering about your condition of your tires. So let's leave the wheel turned all the way to the right or left and shut the car off, walk around and look in the center bead of the tire, center tread of the tire, and you will see replacement tire monitor. Or if you see replace tire, you already know that you need tires. So if you go for an oil change and somebody says, oh, you need tires, you say, yeah, I know. Or you don't need tires, you know. That's education, and hats off to our General Tire folks, a smart engineer. Take a call from John. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Yes, I'd like to cast a vote for you for the Elvis Presley of the automotive world. But I have 2 questions, really. Number one is, where can general public get one of those Royal Purple jackets, and do they finance a layaway? And then I'll give them a second.
Well, John,
give me that phone number first.
Okay. Well, here's the way. I want to give you a little secret. Here's what I would do if I were you. You can put your name in. See, here's an inside story. So this is between you and me. Anyone else, don't listen. CarClinicSweepstakes.com. See, Royal Purple will give a jacket away to the person who wins the jacket by entering the sweepstakes. So versus buying one, and I don't know what they cost. I do own one that was given to me. There's a story behind that, very touching, and I'll share that with you if I have time. But if you'll go to CarClinicSweepstakes.com, and on that page, there's a question. And one of those questions is about our sponsor partners. For instance, the question would be for the RFA, Renewable Fuels Association, ethanol's high octane number is, and then you click on the site and it takes you right to the line. And of course, ethanol's high octane number is 113. That's why it's a good additive, because the oil companies are making subpar 84 octane fuel and injecting 10% ethanol pumps it up to 87, and they're able to sell it at the pump. And it costs less because a gallon of ethanol is less than a gallon of gas. So the more ethanol you put in a gallon of gas, the lower the cost of a gallon of gas. And I have the gas prices I'll share with you right now nationwide. First, you, John, go to carclinicsweepstakes.com. Look at the royal purple question, which is, what color is royal purple? And it's not really, but it's going to be something like that. And you just click on that. And you will see, and you will have your name in the hat. Now, here's the trick. You can do this 100 times a day if you really, truly want to put your name in a hat 100 times. And there are 7 questions there or 6 questions there. The more questions you answer, and you only have to answer one to have your name in the hat. But by the same token, if you answered all of the questions that are on the site, which would take you all of 15 seconds a question, literally, then your name will be in the hat multiple times, and you can go back every day until the contest, to the sweepstakes. It's not a contest, so the sweepstakes is over, and you'll have an opportunity to win a royal royal purple leather lambskin jacket, easy for you to say, or the $500 from yours truly for gas card, which would take you 4,000 miles at 20 miles per gallon and $2.50 a gallon. I mean, you can do the math. And or you got a $250 Visa card from the Renewable Fuels Association. So that's what I recommend that you do. What's your second question?
Next question is, my inner redneck tells me I like rear-wheel drive cars. But from a practical standpoint, I would like to know your opinion on the advantages of each rear-wheel drive and a front-wheel drive vehicle.
I think a luxury car should be a rear-wheel drive automobile. I think a luxury car, if I lived north of the Mason-Dixon line, should be an all-wheel drive automobile. But I think if I were not in the luxury car business and I lived in New York or in colder climates with snow, I would highly consider the front-wheel drive, because the front-wheel drive it drives more safely in the snow than a rear-wheel drive. And I've been there, done that. So that's what I would buy. Now, I have to say this. There are some beautiful front-wheel drive cars out there, and Toyota makes some really great front-wheel drive cars, and so does Ford, and so the old adage of front-wheel drive and that strange configuration is no longer that strange, because we have traction control systems. We just have just numerous safety items on a car that allow us to go from point A to point B more safely, regardless of road conditions. So if I were you, it would depend on, and one thing, we had, and you may have tuned into the show, John, we had a gentleman who is the head of consumer affairs for General Motors. His name is James Bell. Hell of a nice guy. That's a new position for General Motors, and we had him on talking about car buying 101. And of course, I thought he was going to say, well, here's what you should do: buy a Chevrolet, I thought he was going to push GM. He didn't at all. He said what you should do before you buy a car, used or new, is to do your homework. Part of your homework was to call me, and then Christiana, the name of that site is Shop Click Drive. Shop Click Drive, which is so neat that GM has. Well, here I am touting GM, but you can use that for educate yourself. Go to shopclickdrive.com, and you can configure exactly, or look on the dealership lots anywhere in the U.S. and compare the prices, and you do all your shopping, all your clicking, and all your driving online, and the dealer will deliver the car to your door. It is a fantastic, and that's on our website. I say that, the interview with James Bell, if you'll go to Car Clinic Network, all one word, .com, that's carclinicnetwork.com, and look and scroll down to Bobby Shares the Mic With page. Literally, you will see hundreds of interviews, and the one the recent one with James Bell of General Motors gives you a complete overview of all of the how-tos to buy an automobile, and I thought he did a really great job, because it wasn't about GM, it was about what you should do, and that's to prepare yourself. Thank you so much for your call, John. We'll take another call from Oklahoma. Irv, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Oh, thank you. I had the car fixed. It was under the extended warranty, but I just want to know if I got to look forward to the transmission only lasting 50,000 miles.
Wait. Go back up. You had the car fixed. I mean, like we all know about that. Tell us about it.
Oh, well, I pulled in and parked. I was driving and pulled in and parked. I was in there about 20 minutes or so, come out, put it in reverse, backed up, put it in forward, started driving, and it wouldn't go out of the first gear. I drove about a mile, and I shut it off and started it up again, and it did the same thing for about 2 miles, and there's a check engine light. It's service or whatever comes on the dash. And so I shut it off after 2 miles and waited almost 3 minutes and started it up, and it shifted all right. And the book tells me, you could drive it in.
Right.
And, but don't drive excessive in your speed, but get it in. Well, I already had an appointment for the next morning for an oil change, But so I took it in, and I told him, I said, check that transmission. I said, because there's something wrong with it. And, well, they went into it, and he says, well, the clutches were burnt and something else in there, and they'd take care of it because of the warranty and that, but it smelled burnt and that. And I don't haul anything with that car. That's my driving car, and I've got a pickup truck for hauling heavy stuff, and I do warm it up even in this.
So you're telling me, Irv, that you've got a 2011 Chevy Cruze that at 50,000 miles, the transmission clutches burned in it?
Yes, 56,000 miles.
Did you buy this car new?
I bought it brand new. And on that model, that was the first one in here. Now, on that model, there was no dipstick. They didn't make that car with a dipstick.
Well, that's
you can't check.
That's right. You can't. And here's I have a concern there, and I share your concern with why at 56,000. Ironically. And I'm not picking on Toyota here, but it's a fact. Toyota, Lexus, actually, there's no dipstick there as well. Toyota will, or Toyota OEM says no fluid change until 60,000 miles, and the warranty ends at 60,000 miles. And having said that, at 30,000 miles, we have yet to have a Toyota product, whether it's a Camry or a Lexus LS430 or a 5 Series, we have yet to have a Toyota product in our service facility, 43 years in-house here, that at 30,000 miles, the fluid wasn't darkened. Now, you say, well, that's like oil. It heats up and it's going to get some darkened. But I will tell you, I've seen cars with 75,000 miles that had decent-looking fluid as compared to a Toyota product at 30,000 miles, and yet the dealer, not because no slam against the dealer, but because the factory instructs the dealers not to change the fluid before 60,000 miles. Well, by that time, how would you know? If you didn't have a service engine light soon, if you didn't go into limp home mode, if you didn't have some failure, you would have never known this. And I don't know what the warranty is, but 56,000, I think you're probably etching near that, close to that warranty. So here's your question of me.
Well, I got the extended warranty, and they did repair it, but I have that car serviced at Chevy all the time. Right. I don't touch anything on that car.
I hear you. So the bottom line is the transmission fluid in a vehicle should be serviced every 30,000 miles, and we offer that service in our shop. I mean, I know you live in Oklahoma, not on the Gulf Coast, but we offer that service in our shop, and with that service comes a protection plan that puts $2,000, and there are 2 tiers, Tier 1 and Tier 3. But if you get your transmission service when it's less than 36,000 miles, there's $2,000 put in your car's VIN. Not in your name, in your car's name. So if you sold your car, it would go with your car, that protection plan. Now, you say, well, what does that cost? The cost is zero. You pay for the service. We change the fluid. I like to use synthetic fluid, which costs a little more, but it's definitely worth it. And then that means for the life of that car, there's $2,000 in a kitty for that car. Now, what's the catch? You got to change the fluid every 30,000 miles. We have an international company that provides that protection plan for us. And how can they do that? Because if you change the fluid every 30,000 miles, chances are you're never going to have a problem. Well, I won't say never because that's not correct. But rarely would you have a transmission problem or a power steering problem or an engine cooling system problem or a brake, internal brake problem with calipers and wheel cylinders if you change the blood in the vehicles, and people don't think about that. And then manufacturer says, Ford says, oh, you can go 150,000 miles on the transmission fluid. Well, what's the warranty? It's 48,000 miles. Well, great. Yeah, I can tell you could buy my magic potion for $10, and you may live to 110 years old. Or you may not. I mean, I'm being facetious, but Irv, the bottom line is what you need to do is you need to make sure that at 56, 60, 70, at 86,000 miles, which is 30,000 miles, you have that fluid change in that transmission.
I will.
Do it. Do it now. You don't have to change the filter. Right.
I'm surprised nobody told me about that because I take it in there to the same place.
Well,
for
it's
service.
not on their agenda, and here's the challenge with that. And in the interest of the service industry and car owners and consumers, you take your car in for an oil change, and somebody walks out and says, "Oh, you need this and this and this and this and this." Oh, wait! I just want my oil change. You got to make sure that you trust the shop, and you got to deal with a shop that's in the repair business, not in the fast in, fast out business. And with that, fast in, fast out, I'm fast out of time. Another hour coming up. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Don't touch your dial. I'll be back.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Running red lights is the cause of more injuries than any other crash type. Protect yourself from those red light runners by looking to the left, then to the right, and then for turning vehicles before you enter traffic light controlled intersections. Visit EscortRadar.com to learn about the all-new Passport and Passport Max 2, both featuring built-in Bluetooth connectivity. Don't just drive smarter. Escort. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring bolt-on technologies that will enable production of ethanol from both grain starch and cellulosic material at the same facility. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What's the most amazing thing that's happened in our age? The Berlin Wall coming down? No. Genome Project? Hardly. How about that little pill that's given your grandfather the drive of a 14-year-old? Not even close. The most remarkable advancement may be the technology that allows you to effortlessly plan and book your own travel. It's Travelocity and allows you to beat the travel system. Their product, called Dream Maps, shows you every destination available to you for the amount of money you have. Calendar-based shopping allows you to find that elusive low fare and tells you the date it's available. Travelocity puts more than 700 airlines, over 50 rental car companies, 5,000 vacation and cruise getaways, and in excess of 50,000 hotels at your fingertips. It allows you to go places you never knew existed, to discover places you absolutely would not have discovered before. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.